I mean, a lot of it is down to the fact that, quite frankly, we are fighting for our very existence, and that
Yeah.
tends to motivate people quite a bit, as you can imagine. So we are incredibly determined to defend Ukraine and to defend our way of life and to defend the freedoms and liberties that we have built over the past 30 years of independence. And the Russians, well, what are they fighting for? Just conquest, just imperialism. And we can see how demoralized the Russian armed forces are. We can see how poorly they're supplied, how poorly the logistics is. There's even rumors of dissent within the FSB, Russia's security service itself, with several FSB higher ups said to have been placed under house arrest. So in Russia, their mood is nowhere close to the kind of resolve that we have to win. And obviously, it's impossible to overstate how
Mm.
much strength that's given us. Of course, Western arms shipments haven't harmed our ability to defend ourselves either.
Yeah, and I know that you, as we mentioned, that you've been sheltering in Brescia, but you're also hosting refugees in your home. Give us a sense of how many people are staying with you and whether you have enough food, enough medicine.
Yeah, luckily where I am in Vinica, which is about 300, it's a city about 300 kilometers southwest of Kiev. So it's considered relatively safe. We've had a few missile strikes, but mostly on the military airfields that surround the city, nothing within
Mm.
the city itself. As a result, Vinica has become one of the major staging points and thoroughfares for evacuees going from the eastern parts of the country. So I've hosted quite a few families here, and it is typically families, people with children who cannot afford to stay where they are, who have other lives to consider besides their own, and aren't exactly willing to gamble on them. And mostly people have been in shock. I mean, in the beginning, I would say about till about maybe a couple of days ago, there was still this very strong sense that the war may be over very soon and normal life will continue. Now I think that kind of optimism has been fading, not
Mm.
we're going to lose, but that this is going to grind on for a while longer, and hoping for a short victory is probably not worth it.
I mean, viewers watching from around the world, Rome, you're probably thinking, okay, why would people stay? Why will you stay? Why will people stay? I know you're still in the outskirts of Ukraine, of Kyiv, and it's still relatively safe, but why stay?
The reason a lot of people stayed, and I've asked a lot of my friends who've remained in Kiev itself,
Mm.
and their response has been, well, we have elderly relatives who refuse to leave. In a lot of cases, these are grandparents with either some kind of age-related frailties or are simply stubborn to leave the places that they've built their entire lives and raised families in. And they don't want to go, to an unknown future in a different country on the drop of a hat, and they would rather stay in this to take care of them. Obviously, a lot of people have stayed. And on top of that, it is incredibly difficult to just uproot your life and leave.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know, in a lot of cases, these are people who don't know the language of the countries that they're traveling to. They don't know the culture there. They don't know anyone there.
Mm.
And so going to a completely new place, not speaking the language, not knowing whether you're going to have food, work, a place to eat, funding, it's a really tough decision to make. And as a result, a lot of people have chosen to stay. Though now that the shelling has become intensified in a lot of these bigger cities near the Russian border, you've seen a lot of people start saying, "Well, it's getting way too dangerous. It's too much, and we have to go."
Romeo, we appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. We are in awe of your defiance as well as the rest of the Ukrainian people. Keep safe, keep us posted, and let's stay in touch. Romeo there, thank you
All
very
right.
much. Now, more than 850 people were detained in anti-war protests across Russia on Sunday. That is according to an independent human rights group. It says Russian security forces are no longer detaining just protesters. They're also trying to identify, quote, unreliable people in the places where demonstrations were announced. Overall, the group says almost 15,000 anti-war protesters have been detained in Russia since the invasion of Ukraine began. And just ahead, right here on CNN, Ukraine's president is set to address the Council of Europe soon about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We'll bring you that story just ahead. You are watching CNN Newsroom.